Presented by Cyberreason with Hardy, Mike Dussault, and Paul Perillo is your source for all the news and information following every Patriots game.
And the Patriots have won their 6th Super Bowl title. In the early 2000s, they won 3 of 4. Now they have won 3 of the last 5. Yes, it's still a dynasty.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
I hope y'all keep that same energy for tonight, baby. Can't wait.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Slipping and sliding, he was like a cat. Pop, pop, bang. Patriots get the win today in Los Angeles, 27-24 over the Los Angeles Chargers. Welcome into the Patriots Postgame Show, presented by Cyberreason, official defenders of the New England Patriots. Hardy, Mike Dussault, and Paul Perillo. I'm going to say, gentlemen, quite an entertaining football game we've had here this afternoon.
I know.
That was fun.
A little stressful down there at the end.
A little
for me, at least.
A little stressful and a little maybe lacking in terms of offense from the Patriots, but the win is the thing. And some really outstanding performances from a handful of Patriots players. We're going to get to those in the good, the bad, and the training room, presented by Theragun. But before we do that, just your overall thoughts on the game there, Mike.
Yeah, I thought early on the big plays kind of defined it against, for really both teams, I think. The big play to Aguilar, and then, the Chargers had the big passing play on the first drive to Keenan Allen, and then the big rush on their third drive. And those ones kind of set up the early scores, and then both offenses kind of went quiet. I mean, I think I would give the edge to the Patriots' run game. That kind of helped the Patriots maintain their lead in the time of possession, and didn't give the Chargers too many chances. But Patriots defense stepped up. Was a little hairy there at the end, but in the end, I think they did enough. Though obviously, those 2 Adrian Phillips interceptions were just huge, game-changing plays, and that really was the difference today.
Paul, your first thoughts here post game?
I thought the defense was really, really good. This was probably, I think, the best defensive performance, because I think this came against a pretty good offense. So I'm not going to nitpick what they did against the Jets or some other team. I thought, combined with the venue and the opponent, the defense won you a game today. I thought they had a couple of shaky moments early in the game where they gave up a couple of big plays. But after that, the Chargers took the ball over several times with a chance to put a drive together that really would have allowed them to take control of the game, and the Patriots never let them do it. So I give the Patriots defense, and ultimately Mike is right. The 2 turnovers, 10 points off of them. The pick 6 wins the game, because I'm not sure you were going to put together a touchdown drive if you had to. That pick 6 to me completely lifted everything and tilted the scales. So the defense, this is kind of like we thought heading into the season would be the way they win. We can run the ball. We got Mac Jones is going to play mistake-free and make some plays, and we're going to lean heavily on the defense to keep us in it, and then we're going to find a way to make some plays at the end. And, give the offense a lot of credit for the last drive, too.
Yeah.
You take over, and you go, 6-7 minutes there for a field goal to close it out. So really, really good performances all around and a big win. Now you can start talking about what needs to happen in the next few weeks, to get into the playoff picture. Now you have a chance next week to get over 500 for the first time since week 1?
I mean, not this
year. Well, yeah.
Of the first.
Last year.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
And really, I guess
they haven't been over 500 since week 2, going into week 2 of 2020.
So, they were 500 after week 2 this year.
They haven't been over 500.
Oh, I got you. That's
since they were 1-0 in 2020.
So that's really my main takeaway from this. And it's defense and it's Adrian Phillips, but really your team is now at 500 since for the first time since week 2.
Yep.
And based on the way you played today and the schedule going forward, it for the first time looks like a team that is a better than 500 team, or at least has the capability of getting there. I did not feel that way a few weeks ago, but after the last 2 weeks, now I'm looking at a team that A, is 500, and B, I could see this team finishing now on the north side of 500, as opposed to, God, are they gonna get to 8 wins? Are they gonna get 7 wins? Because based on the way it was trending, they weren't.
Yeah.
And now they're looking like somewhat of a different team over these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they've made some strides for sure. I mean, I think there's still things to clean up for sure. I mean, I think that little area where they had holding penalty, take back the Damian Harris touchdown, and then you had Kendrick Bourne's fumble. That little area right there was kind of a prime exhibit of things that they still need to clean up. But I agree with how Paul said it. This is kind of what you thought the Patriots would be this year going in. And, I mean, certainly you look at Mac Jones's numbers as a rookie-like performance from him. But, I think he avoided the killer mistake. And, really that's what Justin Herbert made was that pick six. That was really the difference in the game. But, it's an encouraging win. I don't want to get, too far ahead of ourselves. And, they're going to have another challenge next week against Carolina. But definitely the best win of the season. And it seems like the team's starting to make some strides defensively for sure, and it's good just to see them bounce back after a slow start. I was a little worried after they came out, that big play, the 4th down conversion, they all get dragged into the end zone. It was kind of like, man, you guys, you flew out here, right, for the game, right? Everybody's out here to play. But, credit to them. They turned it around, and in the clutch moments, like Paulie said, they got the stops that they needed to keep the door open, and, the offense scored enough to put it away there at the end. I think that last drive with the field goal was just was impressive. Knowing what they had done all over the game wasn't really overly crazy.
Well, you mentioned the field goal. I don't want to tip my hand first up on my good list, though, but it's he was real good today. Let's do the good, the bad, in the training room, shall we, Matt?
Now it's time for the good.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
The bad.
If you were in my toilet bowl, I wouldn't bother flushing it.
And the training room.
You want a back rub?
Presented by Theragun.
Good, the bad, and the training room presented by Theragun. Oh, the Theragun Mini. More on that in a moment. But first up, let's go to Mike Dussault. Your first good on the good list today.
Yeah, I got to take the easy one. It's Adrian Phillips. I mean, playing against his former team, I think he's been outstanding this year, and this was exactly what they needed. The 2 big turnovers, critical ones, the pick six, nothing bigger than that. Just huge plays from him. Also, I'm seeing had a quarterback hit as well. So, I mean, I think he was just active all night generally and around the ball. And I think when you're playing well, the ball finds you, and it certainly found him tonight. So, first star for sure from me.
Hard to argue with that.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. Player of the game for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to go just a little outside of the box just because I don't know exactly how to identify it. But I'm going to say Bill Belichick and whatever they did to put together that defensive game plan. And it was very similar to what I saw last year with Justin Herbert. I thought at times he looked a little flustered. I thought they mixed some pressure with dropping off on key 3rd downs. I thought he looked like he was sort of unsure of some of his throws, double clutching. Now, I also think he was grossly let down by his receivers, especially critical plays on 3rd downs when they had chances to make plays. The pick six, the critical pick six, it looked to me, I mean, it might have been Herbert's fault, but he clearly is throwing the ball back shoulder, and Jared Cook is looking inside. Like, it wasn't a bad throw. It was they were not on the same page. So I credit Bill Belichick and the defensive coaches for causing those kinds of plays all day, because I really do think that was the case. There were a lot of examples of that, and that's 2 years in a row. They took a young quarterback who a lot of people have had a hard time defending and made him look awfully ordinary today.
That's a great one, Paul. Just as you said, they made Herbert today look hurried and confused when there wasn't all that much that I could see that should have been throwing him off that much, but they obviously knew the opponent well enough and knew what they wanted to do, and credit to the defense for executing and getting out there and throwing them off whatever game plan they wanted to have today against the Patriots.
And I'll give you my theory on it real quick, and it was my key to the game, forcing Herbert to use complementary pieces. I think as good as those guys are, I think if Bill only has to concentrate on 1 or 2 guys, he can do it.
Yeah.
They didn't have, or at least Herbert doesn't have the comfort level with these other guys to go to them when he has to. And it was, Keenan Allen, 11 targets, and Mike Williams, 5. And then, the other receivers, really only had three between them. Guyton had 1 catch, and the rookie Palmer had the touchdown catch at the end, which was desperation. It's not what they wanted to do. Yeah. So I really think if you can allow Bill to feel comfortable knowing exactly what he has to stop, he's going to dial up something pretty good. And I think he dialed up a lot of stuff today for Herbert.
Yeah.
I'm going to put Nick Folk on the good list. 4 field goals today. I know this is a surprise, but listen.
Question. Hey, I love this tradition.
Right?
I love it.
2 48-yarders.
Those two middle, the second and third field goals were both 48 yards, and 24 and 30. We call them chip shots, but
Those
see
are chip
guys.
shots already stopped.
4 for 4, responsible for almost half the points the Patriots put up today on a game where the Pats offense did struggle at times. He's the one who kept you in it and sealed the deal with that 30-yarder at the end of the game. He was perfect.
Yep.
So Nick Folk on the good list for sure.
I would agree.
No asterisk.
No, I would agree 100% wholeheartedly. And I think in particular, the one he makes to close the first half from 48 yards is enormous because that comes after the pick. And you have all that momentum. You think you're going to take the lead. You don't because you don't do anything with that pick. And then if you come out of there with no points, and a 48-yarder is not a gimme. So he nails that one, and that's huge. You get those points, and you get in.
I was angry watching that series of plays at the end of the first half because instead of just trying to run the ball, maybe give them in a little bit better position, they were trying these pass plays that weren't working for the most part today.
Those silly pass plays they were trying to get touchdowns.
What are you trying to throw it? Just run it.
You know what I'm saying, Paul. You were sitting here almost agreing with me because
I was agreeing with you.
You didn't shush me.
I was agreeing with you.
I take that as agreeing.
We don't shush at chaos. But I was agreeing with you. I can't believe you got that one. That's unbelievable.
That's old school, baby. So what do you got next on your good list?
I'm not sure if it's J.C. Jackson or it's the secondary as a whole, but I think given the weapons, given the attention we gave Keenan Allen, I just think that they need an up. I think that a lot of it was J.C. Jackson. He was in coverage on a couple, big pass plays, but just looking at those weapons coming in, wondering how they're going to match up. Didn't love the play at the end from Mills, but overall, I think they did a real good job, and really just that one big play on the first drive to Allen was it. But they had a conversion there at the end. But otherwise,
I had him down. I had J.C. Jackson down on the early bad. It's just I got to keep an eye on because of that first big pass play on the first drive for the Chargers. But no, he acquitted himself.
And it's hard to say exactly him, but I'm just kind of giving a total blanket kind of credit.
Because I have a problem. I don't really know exactly if they were in zones most of the time or man. Because I thought Keenan Allen was open throughout the day. To be honest with you, he had 6 for 77, and at least 3 that went either into his hands or through his hands.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't think that's. I think they were playing a lot of zones.
Well, I tell you what, I don't trust my eyes enough too because I am pretty typical. I think in that I really notice the secondary when a big play happens or when Devin McCourty
he definitely got beat on the first big.
And Devin McCourty seems to be running over again like he did a few weeks ago.
Kind of like back now a little bit.
No.
No, I
as good as the defense was today.
Brady just threw a pick. The Bucs are gonna lose.
What?
Unless this guy goes into the end zone now. Oh no, okay, that's fine. There was a 2-point spread. I thought it was a 1-point spread. Wow. They make the extra point, the game is over.
Wow,
it's jarring.
And Tom Brady has thrown 4 touchdown passes today. And
man. Saints just give him a tough time.
Unbelievable.
Except in the playoffs.
The Saints defense gave him a tough time in the playoffs too, guy.
Yeah, guy.
I didn't watch.
It was Breeze that had more of a problem with the Tampa.
All right, who else you want on your good list, Paul?
I had, let's see, checks notes. I had Gunnar Olszewski on my good list today with punt returns of 21, 22, and 27 yards.
It's the Charger nightmare.
Which set up in a day that the offense really didn't do a whole lot today.
Nope.
350 yards. I thought they were terrible in the red zone. You needed some of that field position that was created by Ghana. And whatever it is, he looks like Terry Metcalf against the Chargers punt return team, punt coverage team. But I thought he was dynamic. I thought he was getting upfield and shaking off some tackles. So I had Gunnar on my good list.
Do we not have
only the good list?
We just the good list.
Yes.
We haven't mentioned Damian Harris yet.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay, well, I am mentioning Damian Harris despite the from Paul there. 23 carries for 80 yards. He had the lone offensive touchdown for the Patriots today. He's on my good list.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think
they relied on him so much today, Paul.
I just don't think the production was there against the 32nd ranked running.
Yeah, that is a fair point. I think there was a little bit more. We kept waiting for them to bust it.
He threw
his pen.
But I think that
3.5
they didn't have much going.
Oh, my goodness.
We got
we're good.
Can I call him Gunner?
Call him whatever you want. Just call him Mr. Winner today with a 27-24 win over the Chargers. Gunnar Olszewski joining us now. Thanks for taking the time. How are you? Congratulations.
All right, hold on 1 second. It's a little loud in here.
Okay.
All right, well, make sure everybody quiets down first.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, they did.
They listen.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
we got
you.
We can. Hey, congratulations. Great win today against a good football team, Gunnar.
Thank you, man. We did a pretty good job, I think.
Hey, Gunnar, what is it about the Chargers that just has your punt returns popping? You had a big game for you. A couple of big returns really seemed to spark the offense and field position today.
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much about the Chargers. It is those guys I got blocking for me. We had a good game plan, got some stuff moving to the field. And those guys, anytime you see me with a big return, that's all those guys up front. Should have housed 2 of them. I think that's what the film's going to say. But those guys blocked their tails off, and that's why those returns happen.
Gunnar, can you get into a situation as a returner? Like, obviously, you had the huge game out there last year as well. Do you sort of get into a rhythm where you say, hey, this is a team we can make plays on, and you come into the game almost expecting
absolutely.
it?
I mean, to be honest with you, with the guys we have on that unit, I think we can get something going every single week. And Cam McCord and Joe Houston's done a great job of finding ways to make it look a little different, but keep it the same and true to what we do. And I think today was just that all coming together and us being a more physical team and getting it going.
It certainly was a team effort, but Gunnar, you have to know that the beat writer from Sports Illustrated had you singled out as one of the 3 players they had to do something about today, and multiple times throughout the game we were saying, there he is, nightmare fuel for the Chargers. It's got to be a good feeling to
21, 22, and 27-yard returns today for Gunnar Olszewski.
21, 22, and 27?
Yeah. Unofficially, of course.
Double check that with Aaron.
But you are now officially nightmare fuel for another team. It's got to be a good feeling.
It is, and I think that after being first team All-Pro last year, coming in every game, we get every team's best, which that's what we want as a unit. We want you to, know you got to get in your lanes and cover, and we're still going to get some returns going. That's our mentality, and if we do what we do, I don't think there's a lot of it's going to be hard to stop us.
Gunnar, a couple weeks ago, you guys were 2-4. We're hearing, the guys in the locker room know how hard you guys work, and saying, hey, we're a better team than this. You've reeled off 2 straight wins. Just what does it mean for the team now to get to 4-4, even things up, and now you're looking at the, I guess what the last 9 games now. There's no halfway point anymore, but the last 9 games to go.
I'll tell you what, man, it feels good because we do work hard. Our coach is right; it's pretty good, but it all when you see it come together on the field, man, it feels real good winning 2 in a row against. The Chargers, damn good team. I think things are starting to go in the right direction, and we're going to keep our foot on the gas. I can tell you that.
All right.
We're looking forward to Carolina next week.
Well, we're looking forward to watching you again, the Nightmare Man on Halloween. It's perfect, Gunnar. Well,
trick or treat, man.
All right, congratulations. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, Gunnar.
Thanks. Y'all take care.
Safe travels.
There we go. Gunnar Olszewski there joining us post-game. Thank you to Microsoft, our partner, Microsoft Windows 11, the official operating system of the NFL and the New England Patriots. The all-new Windows 11 is here to bring you closer to what you love, like the Patriots Postgame show. Learn about all the awesome new features of Windows 11 at windows.com. So much fun talking with these guys post-game the last couple of weeks. Kendrick the last week and Gunnar this week.
I kind of liked how I felt like I dropped a
He's
little
like, that's what it was?
Oh, really?
That sounds pretty
21,
good.
22, 27.
All right.
You figured, like, during the game, some guys are very stats-oriented, and I'm sure there's some guys who would know, throughout
Others
the game.
just have no idea.
I think Gunnar is one of those guys. He really doesn't know. So,
it would be hard to know, like, the exact.
That'd be funny.
The
Cam
exact
Acorn's like,
yardage.
that's not what you got. Like, shoot it down instantly. Oh, man, Paul Perillo.
So that was great.
That's why I backed off it right away.
Unofficially.
Because I write stuff down during the game. It doesn't mean
What
I'm
do
right.
I know?
And I suppose if I would have been a little more studious in my good list, I probably would have had Gunnar before Damian Harris. We could have been talking about Gunnar.
Oh, that would have been
Olszewski.
great. That would have been the
I
dream,
but
right?
I had
Yeah,
Gunnar.
well, he had just,
Yeah,
maybe he
I
had
had
gotten
done
on.
Gunnar.
Maybe he
Had you already gone Gunnar?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went Gunnar and then you went Damian.
Yeah, I forgot. I guess I wasn't listening.
How long
Don't
was
be
he
so
on
hard-
hold?
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Oh, please. That's all I do. All right. So we've got Adrian Phillips.
Yeah.
We've got some defensive mentions here. We've got Gunnar. We've got Damian Harris, which Paul was Nick Folk, of course.
Can I kind of do a
You
little
do
bit of a
whatever
joint
you
one.
want, baby.
Well, I was going to say Barmore and Judon. I think those guys showed up in some big spots.
I had exactly the same thing.
Like, you know, drawn holding penalty again by Barmore. Sack at the end there on the last drive. You know, he's just continuing to show up in big spots, whether it's drawing holds or
those
causing
guys
pressures.
on the right side, and I know Phil Perry was tweeting about this a lot during the game. That's where the backups were for the Chargers, and they really took advantage. And I don't think the pressure was overwhelming, but it was flashed at times to make Herbert get out of the pocket a little bit, probably before he wanted to. I think that's a really good one, Mike.
Yeah.
Barmore and Judon, both at various times in the game.
Pressure. And, you know, I think even, not to put these guys on the good list, but I think all those guys in the front, they had their moments, you know, here and there. And, I mean, there were some bad moments, but I think Hightower, Van Noy, they all kind of popped up with some key plays here and there. So, but I think Barmore and Judon were kind of the key straws stirring the drink, as they say.
Yeah, some individual players were, you know, kind of showing up for individual plays. I had Miles Bryant on my good list. He had a blitz that I thought, you know, created a third down incompletion when he forced Herbert out of the pocket. His throw was in front of the bench on the sideline, just out of bounds. And then he had a good tackle after that, which I think led to a drop. And he had a good form tackle. So I thought he was active and around the ball a little bit. So I had him on my good list.
All right. That's all I had pretty much for good list stuff. If you guys have any other tiny standout performances, I think we're good, though.
No, I mean, otherwise,
Just
I think
plays.
there were some moments. Yeah, the
Like I
plays
thought
here and
McCourty
there.
made a nice play to break up a pass on a third down. But I don't necessarily think McCourty had a strong game, like to your point,
To like
Hardy.
Yeah.
Just, but again, I put that more on me than I do on McCourty because it's almost like an offensive lineman thing where it's like I'm noticing them when plays are made or mistakes are made, and that really is the bane of the secondary. It's like if they're shutting guys down and passes aren't getting,
And I think they did today.
And passes aren't getting thrown, much less completed.
Yeah.
And how many times did we see Herbert, you know, get flushed out of the pocket and have to throw something either out of bounds down the sideline or, you know, just close enough because the coverage was good. So it's not fair to me. And you know, the couple of plays that stand out in my mind, because I'm not seeing everything. You got to let me watch the film.
I
Let me
agree
watch
with
the
you.
all 22.
Yeah,
I agree.
We'll
Yeah,
talk on
We'll have to
Thursday.
get back to
Yeah,
that.
when do you want to do that,
Yeah,
guys?
we'll meet up for coffee.
Absolutely.
You guys can do it.
Coffee and film.
Don't wait for me. If I'm late, don't wait for me. And the last thing I had, and I would not put him on the good list today because I don't think he was very good overall, but the throw that Mac Jones had to Nelson Aguilar was as good a throw as he's made all season. The deep ball in the first quarter on the first drive.
See, now this is on the other side. As you mentioned J.C. Jackson earlier, I had him on an early bad list. I had Mac Jones on an early good list, but I did not mention him during the goods just because, you know, for his day today, 18 of 35, 218 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. It doesn't.
It's amazing. Both quarters were 18 for
Yeah,
35.
not funny.
Yeah. But it doesn't.
Both of them were rather ineffective.
Yeah, it really didn't, you know, warrant to mention either one of these guys on, I think, a good or bad list today. I think Mac Jones
I agree.
did his job out there today. But if we're talking about standout performers, those other guys we mentioned deserve mention.
Yeah, I was
Mac,
I agree with you, Hardy. I was just mentioning the one specific throw was gorgeous.
It was,
just
and
a perfect throw to Aguilar.
I'd also give him props too for that last
for the
drive.
last drive.
You know, and that was after the game he had, and I think that's something with Mac that no matter how he's played, he's found a way to come through and make some big throws.
And that last drive is why I wouldn't fight Hardy on Damian Harris being on the good list, because even though the numbers were pedestrian for the day, that last drive allowed them to take 7 minutes off the clock, and it allowed all the plays. Because if Damian Harris isn't getting 5 and 6 yards on those plays, they're not throwing the ball to Nelson Aguilar into, I think N'Keal Harry caught one on that drive too. Those passes were all set up by runs because they couldn't throw the ball when they needed to throw the ball all day.
I think the other pass was to Bourne on that same drive, to Bourne and Aguilar on the opening drive. And again, like early standout good list-ish stuff. Individual plays worthy of a quick mention, but it's all kind of in that same soup of guys who made some good plays today, but we'll save their specific mention for other days when they truly deserve some standout recognition. Same goes for the bad. I don't have a ton today, but there were a couple of things I think worth mentioning. I'm sure we all have something. Mike?
Yeah. Well, you start with Kendrick Bourne, and unfortunately the fumble. I mean, it can't happen. And I mean, that's a play that took points off the board, and It's a second one this year. They've already fumbled the ball 6 times this year, 5 times all last year. The turnovers continue to be an issue. That was the only one, though. Love Kendrick. I mean, I think he's continued to develop. He had a strong game pretty much otherwise outside of this, but it just can't continue to happen. And this is the second one this year, so it's got to land.
Yeah, and I'm just going to add to that. Not that I'm nitpicking your words about the strong game otherwise, but that play obviously was huge for the exact reasons that you said. I also thought the throw that went to his direction on the goal line on the slant that went off his hands and almost got picked. And I think when they first showed the replay, they were like, I think he loses his footing. He didn't, but somehow got low on that play. I don't think that was a bad throw by Mac Jones. It looked like a bad throw. It looked high and outside, but I thought Bourne kind of made it look worse than it was. So, I mean, I don't know for sure on that, but I mean, that could have been a costly turnover, because when you get slants that deflect in the air on the goal line, they don't generally end well, and they were fortunate on that one.
You're right. I mean, as I'm thinking back now, I'm trying to remember like the good plays, but that's another.
He had a big third down conversion on the very first third down of the day. Chargers go right down the field and score 7-0, and I think the Patriots had a third and long.
I remember that one. Yeah.
And he converted it with an easy catch, but that was about it for Bourne today.
What do you have on your bad list?
The big plays they allowed in general, way too many big plays. I'll focus specifically for this, the bad on some run fits. They gave up a 75-yard run and a 28-yard run. That's not acceptable. I thought for the most part they were okay against the run today, but they really allowed the Chargers to make some big plays on the ground, and you can't have that. Led to scores on all 3 drives, I believe. Some of the big runs, and the run fits. I thought Hightower in particular looked like he was out of whack on that long run by Jackson. A
little bit of an ole there as he went by.
Yeah, he cut inside him, standing still.
Yeah.
So that was one of my bads.
Yeah, I have the plays on 3rd and 4th down toward the goal line, and I hesitant to call it play calling and play execution. It's both. It's like I would rather have seen them run the ball with Damian Harris on both of those plays when they went for it on 4th down on the goal line.
I didn't know what you were
But
talking
certainly
about.
on 3rd down, and again on 4th down, instead they
hated the calls.
They go for pass plays, which I don't like the call, right up until the moment when they actually complete one of them. So I have to give, partial blame to the execution on those two. So I'll call it the play calling and execution down on the goal line there. And, careful what you wish for. A few weeks ago, I'm begging for them to take a shot in the end zone down in that situation. But on a day when it seems like Harris is the only guy that can, get the ball over the line of scrimmage, much less pick up any yards for you, it seemed odd to go with 2 pass plays there, so I had that on the bad list.
Yeah, and I was going to say red zone offense, which I think that's what you're kind of touching
really
on too.
Today.
It's just overall 1 for 4. The execution down there was not what it needed to be, and I mean I think you talk about things that are holding this team back from going to the next level. That's one, and it could have been a much different game if they had finished those things off down there when they got close.
What else do you have on your bad list there, Deuce?
I think that's. Yeah,
and we covered a lot already.
I think with the you guys sort of combined a lot of things there.
Yeah.
I think you hit them. I think you covered all the bases with the calls, the red zone execution in general.
I don't want to kill the penalties. I mean, some of the penalties were bad, but that's the same thing as one play. It's like you could tell Justin Herron, but those plays happen.
Another 12 men on the field today made my list.
A couple timeouts, like a couple of weird little coaching things too.
I tell you what, the Bill Belichick challenge.
I didn't like the challenge. I know they said it was well worth it. I don't think so.
Why?
No. I think that's a weird challenge there in the 4th quarter, and that was before you got the pick 6. So you don't know you're taking the lead there. That could have been huge.
And Bill knows the rules well enough, and knows them better than I do. Maybe that the officials do have the option of changing the hold call. It's actually, we're going to call the hold.
That's what
back
I thought was going to go. Oh, because Kyle Van Noy. That one.
Yeah, there's a hold in the end zone too, but they didn't call that, and I'm sure they told them that when he when he threw the red challenge flag, but he went ahead with it anyway. So, anyway, not too much. How about the injured list today?
We had.
I also had Jalen Mills on my bad list.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, I know the game was over, but it's not over if you do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, you put yourself in a position where you had to recover an onside kick, and you should never have been in that position.
All right. Good point.
Yeah. For injured, Isaiah Wynn got hurt, came back. I'm not sure. Was there any other you clocked?
I didn't notice anything else. I wasn't on Twitter for the entire game like we normally are. I had some connectivity issues today. Not gonna lie. I'm having them right now. As a matter of fact.
All right.
But that was the only one I noticed.
Okay. Well,
Isaiah Wynn, and he returned.
And if he returned, maybe they hit him up with the Theragun there very quickly. Do you know how excited I was this week? Paul sent me a
this
text,
baby right here.
Text with a photo. He said, "I have something for you," and it was a photo of this box, the Theragun Mini, which let me angle that properly there. I took it out of the box as soon as we got done with the pregame today.
Yeah, this is what you can't stop playing with it.
Charged it,
placement.
charged it up in no time, and I already am in love with this thing. You know, I got a bit of a runner's knee over this past.
Not anymore. You don't.
Well, not anymore. I don't, and especially
you're not a runner anymore.
For somebody who does not run. But I was diagnosed with runner's knee nonetheless.
How you get a runner's knee without ever running?
Yeah, you know, it's a phenomenon of science, but the Theragun Mini is going to turn that phenomenon into a non-issue. And we already have a request from boss man Fred Kirsch, who wants to see Paul use the Theragun Mini during the postgame show. You can use mine. It's already charged.
Can we play some music? Do you have anything?
Well,
see,
he's doing it on his neck.
Feel the burn.
It's so good.
Can I see, normally, I also like to do my hammies.
Oh, yeah.
But
I do
you
that.
can't see that on the
Your
broadcast.
IT bands.
So
Yeah, shoulders.
get into the shoulders,
The neck.
the
You get that
knots.
tech neck. That's what I like them for.
You know,
You got the tech neck. Too much head down on your phone.
Was that good, boss man?
Get it in there.
I guess there are things out there that, you know, kind of do this, but this is the only physician-creative percussive therapy device that gets into your deep muscle tensions and relieves those tensions and the aches. I'm telling you, I used it a little bit during the game today. It works. And it relaxes all that tension.
There was a time where the Patriots were trailing 14-7, and Hardy just needed to relax.
I was tense.
Hardy needed to relax, and he broke out the Theragun.
Scientifically calibrated combination of speed, depth, power. It's all in the – and this is a Theragun Mini. There's already 250 teams using the Theragun in some way, shape, or form. It's got a 30-day money-back guarantee. They start at $199. Go to therabody.com to get yours. I am so happy to have this. I'm telling you, because trying to like roll out things, if I do work out a tiny little bit, you're supposed to, as you get older, especially. Oh, you got to stretch. Get on that roller pad. Get the tennis ball or the lacrosse ball underneath. Roll it out.
Oh, just let this thing do it for you.
This.
It gets right on it. It's amazing. Like, because, when you're a kid, you get those pinched nerves in your neck. Like, I used to get those. And they just like, oh, well, that's going to be there for a week. You put that thing right on it.
Gone.
See you tomorrow.
You get down on the floor, you start rolling on those things. There's dogs coming over and bothering you. I don't need that in my life. Not with my.
Plus, it takes like work. You gotta like hold your body up.
Who needs it?
I don't need it. I got a Theragun now. I got a Theragun Mini. So thank you so much. That's great. Very excited. What a day.
Yeah,
what
so
a day.
My son had a game yesterday, and he broke out the Theragun after the game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
It's a family thing.
He's working on his legs a little
Fathers and sons.
bit. Yeah.
It's bringing families together. That is part of Theraguns. It's an unspoken mission, but it's part of what they do.
Why not?
But why not?
Spread the joy.
Wait, that's not what it sounds like at all. It's not it. Yep.
Didn't get one, I wouldn't know.
If you you didn't get one here, I'll tell you.
You can use mine, Matt, anytime.
That's what it sounds like right there.
Doesn't even interrupt your evening TV.
3 speeds.
You can use it while you're watching Jeopardy, which I may or may not have done on Friday or Thursday.
Yeah, you can't watch it on Friday. Gets preempted by that show.
Hey.
What? Oh, sorry. All right. Let's get to your calls here.
Best show that you ever watched.
Bucko. 855-PATS-500. You can also email us. We got a lot of emails coming in. webradio@patriots.com. So let's get to them. Thanks again to Gunnar Olszewski for joining us. I'm telling you, we're having a show here, gentlemen. Let's go to William in Philadelphia. William, you're first up on the Patriots postgame show presented by Cyber Reason. What's up? William, don't ruin the great show now.
Willie.
Hardy, fat fingers.
Yeah, that's not my fault.
Yeah, never is.
William wasn't even on hold for that long. He's just impatient.
Why'd you kick him off? He probably had something nice to say.
No,
He's
he's
not
gone.
like he's, you know,
he's gone.
Send him into
Deuce,
the
it's
ether.
not like he's a regular caller or anything.
Disrespect.
Well, then he should have known to
No, he probably had to do something.
Be
He'll
ready.
call back.
Yeah.
As Adam Jones once said famously, he'll call back, I'm sure.
Yes, CJ in Kansas City is there. What's up, CJ?
Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Halloween.
Same to you.
We had a good game. This is one of those, got to have kind of games as far as like the 50-50 balls, right? And this was a good one for us to come away with a W. I think that, for me, that started last week, that momentum, and we're just kind of keeping it going forward. Hopefully we can cruise on to Carolina and do the same thing. And
yep. You got the same kind of game next week.
Buffalo and
Absolutely.
Right.
Same kind of game next week. 50-50 game. You got to have it mix up for the Miami and the Saints games.
Absolutely.
You got to have it next week. Absolutely. I'm with you 100%, CJ.
And I was going to add.
Oh.
We're going to add one more thing.
Oh, sure.
If I can. That you guys mentioned Damian Harris is a kind of a questionable on the good list. Didn't rip off a lot of long ones. Didn't he have 2 long runs called back and a touchdown because of penalties?
Yeah,
he did.
Do you not count those because they were penalties?
Yeah, because they wouldn't have happened without the penalties on both occasions.
Oh,
okay.
stop.
Oh, no.
Okay.
You guys were saying that.
I said that.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
I
sorry.
didn't-
I won't put it in your mouth. Deuce said it, and Deuce was right.
Yeah.
They were both at the point of attack.
Yeah. I mean, if it was like something stupid over there, then I
Oh,
would do
yeah.
it,
If
but
it's
I
like a
think both those
backside
ones-
hold on a play that goes right and the hold was on the left, sure, that would,
Yeah.
But, the first
It
one
still stinks.
The first one unequivocally doesn't happen without the hold. The one in Haran.
Yeah, right at the.
Now, you can make an argument the one on the edge with Wynn, maybe he would have had the edge anyway. I don't know.
Well, in my defense, I wasn't watching that closely. So
In Hardy's defense, he was
I just
using
assumed it was BS. What?
He was using the Theragun at the time.
in my defense, that doesn't suit my argument. So I will not give any credibility to what you just
Hey,
said.
I use that a lot.
Yeah, it's remarkably effective.
I learned it from Felger.
John in Washington. Are you in Washington State or D.C.?
D.C.
Excellent. Thanks, John. What's going on?
I think it was a pretty good game, particularly by the defense and special teams. I just, if I'm going to be nitpicky, what's going on with some of the coaching calls? The timeout, the first one, the Zolak ripped them, for it because they called the wrong guy in the hold. And then you have the O-lines fighting, so that's the third one. And then in between, it's a 12-man in the field thing.
Yep.
It's like, can we get through a game?
They did.
without-
They gave away all 3 timeouts in the second half. That's a good point, John. Absolutely.
So a little bit of sloppiness there, John, and that's okay. I mean, nitpicking is kind of what we do. I mean, last week that's all we did. It was a 41-point win, and anything bad we had to say was absolutely nitpicking. You got to win today over a good team on the road. One of these cross-country flights that's supposed to be so difficult for NFL teams, which I believe nitpicking overrated. In terms of how much it zaps your energy.
Bill pretty much said it. Bill was asked about that on Friday.
Oh, he was.
And he basically said, I'm not going to say it's nothing, but
it's nothing.
He basically said
there are other things that are more
there's a lot of
impactful.
other things that come into play that are a lot more important.
Yeah, but everything that happened today resulted in a win over a good team 3,000 miles from here. So let's take it and that is the umbrella statement about it. Wasn't perfect. No. And there were some.
That might be the best part of the win in a weird way.
Yeah.
Is the Patriots didn't have to play perfect to win.
Right.
Yeah. Still some turnovers, still some untimely penalties.
What did you say during the game, Paul? That this is what good teams do.
Yeah, I think that when you have, I look at the Chargers, and I don't people keep saying, great team, and I said going in, I thought the game was a toss-up game that could go either way, and that's exactly the way the game unfolded for once. I had a decent read on the way the game would be played. I watched the Chargers, and I think that they really only have one way to win, and that's Justin Herbert carrying the team. He needs to be sharp from start to finish. They need to score a lot of points, and that's how they win. That's their formula, which is fine. I think the guy's a really good player. I won't be like Patriots fans and say that now because the Patriots played well against him, he's overrated. I'm going to give the Patriots credit for making him look bad. I think the Patriots had something to do with Justin Herbert today, not Justin Herbert having his head up his ass.
Right, right.
I think the Patriots defense does something to him that he doesn't like. But I look at the Chargers as having that's their formula for success. I've looked at the Patriots. I saw them last week with just overwhelming offense from the first drive of the game to the last. They just completely suffocated an overmatched opponent with the offense. I watched them play against Dallas and Tampa Bay and just find a way to fight, scrap, and claw, do whatever it took to hang around and give themselves an opportunity to win a game. Then I watched them today. Mac Jones couldn't hit the side of a barn in the first half. I mean, he was as bad today in the first half as I've seen him in any of the games so far.
Okay. Aside from a couple of nice play,
but what was the
throws on
score
first
at
drive.
the half? It's 14-13.
14-13.
They found a way. Their defense found a way to say, we're going to hold them here until our offense sort of gets it going a little bit.
Yep.
And really, the offense never actually got it going. But they did enough on offense. They had enough good drives today where they overcame some of the red zone problems that Mike talked about. The turnover by Kendrick Bourne that cost them points. They had enough offense to overcome those things because the defense was great, really, from the third drive of the game the rest of the way.
Yeah.
They were really good.
And, started off with Herbert for me, just, his performance last week against the Ravens and now this performance. And I think, there are probably some questions out there of just, what's going on there. And so to transfer that then to Mac, I think that's something that's worth probably analysis and discussion this week was what was kind of up with that? Was it something that the Chargers were doing? Because I think right now the narrative around Herbert's going to be, well, they know the secret to what to do. I don't know if that's true or not, but, is that something with Mac? Are teams starting to realize what he does and starting to spin the wheel on him a little bit?
This is another one that, like we talked about how it's a great point, and just sort of I start spinning and thinking of different things as you're talking. Like we talked about not really knowing exactly what the Patriots secondary did to cause Herbert some problems. Well, the same is true the other way. They certainly threw more balls downfield today than they have probably all season combined. They hit one. So was that something that the Chargers did? Were the Chargers crowding the line of scrimmage and taking some of those short, quick throws away, limiting them to short gains if they did have them? So that was kind of enticing Josh to dial up things downfield or Mac to take some shots. He must have taken 5 or 6 shots today, right?
Yeah.
And they
Aguilar had a bunch of targets.
They hit one.
It seemed like that just seems like a part again.
Yeah, Aguilar had 6 targets, only 3 catches. Bourne had 7 targets, only 4 catches.
Yeah.
Myers 9 targets, only 4 catches.
Yeah, he was off. He was missing, and some of those throws, it was almost the kind of throw where it wasn't just he missed the guy that was open. It was like I think he realized while he was throwing it that he didn't have the right read and he was going to the wrong spot, and it was not even really near
I thought
anybody.
The offensive line was okay today, but I think there was some flashes of pressure that bothered Mac a little bit. I think he saw things. I even think I think he only took 1 sack, and the 1 sack I thought he kind of took a dive quickly.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was overwhelmed. I think Bosa was given a one-you some problems today that won't show up necessarily on the stat sheet, but I think he flashed some immediate pressure and caused Mac to throw the ball occasionally faster than he wanted to, and he was a little bit off. I don't think there was a problem necessarily with accuracy. It was him throwing the ball not being in rhythm.
Yeah.
Like the ball that he throws off of Hunter Henry's leg.
Yeah.
I mean,
weird.
clearly he's
just
supposed
throws
to,
we haven't really seen.
Right. Well, we haven't seen. That's a perfect way to say it. I haven't really seen that kind of stuff. And I wonder, was it something that the Chargers did, or were the Patriots just a little out of sync?
Was he off? Was he off?
Was he a little off? Maybe seeing some pressure that wasn't there and throwing it early and trying to throw it to spots and wasn't able to do it.
Things to ponder this week for sure.
All right, we're going to
we get to take a break?
We're going to take a break.
Now I'm throwing pens.
Give me a break.
Alex in Chicago will be up next, followed by Aaron in Michigan and our buddy Spree. Yes, the candy. I tried to say Spee in Fresno too fast.
Love Sprees.
Yeah. As we continue our Patriots postgame show presented by Cyber Reason. Once again, Cyber Reason. Great defenders don't just play on the field, they're also protecting your company and data. Cyber Reason on a mission to end ransomware and keep your business undefeated against cyber attacks. Learn more at cyberreason.com/ransom.
Attacks from endpoints to everywhere. TouchView Interactive is here to support your hybrid learning, distance learning, and video conferencing needs with easy-to-use tools that allow end users to collaborate, interact, and present seamlessly. TouchView Interactive offers a comprehensive line of accessories and software to support your audio-visual needs. Outfit your classrooms and presentation spaces with the future of interactive display technology. Visit touchview.com for more info. Offered by the Oakers Company, celebrating 100 years of service and support.
That looks awful. Football's back and it's time to go big. Pepsi pulled pork sandwiches are game day greatness. Now we're ready for game day. Check out some more awesome recipes on madeforpatriotswatching.com.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Janu?
Yes, Janu.
His dog was reminding him, Janu!
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
I got to tell you, Phil Perry tweeted something out that's making me change my mind about something. It's a Dante Hightower play happened on a first down early in the fourth quarter on a drive when Phillips took his interception to the house. Dante Hightower coming up and just pushing an offensive lineman, the guard there from L.A. out of the way and knocking him 4 yards behind the line. This is a hell of a play. Watch Dante here. Boom. That's a big lick he laid on that guy. Let's give him credit where it's due. I'm not saying, take him off of any list, but give him credit for a good play there.
And I will give him credit. I think that's what he does, though, now. Like, it's not, I think he's always been physical with blockers, and he's got that ability to just throw his shoulder into a giant dude, and he's such a powerful guy. But I think that it's, like Paul said on that big run, he's getting out of lane. It's just there hasn't just been the impact plays, and that kind of stuff is great, and it certainly impacted it and impacted that play, and you need more of it. And I'd say that about everybody with that linebacker.
Yeah,
group.
I would
more
never
plays.
say that we have guys on the good and bad list that don't have good and bad plays. Like I didn't put Dante Hightower on the bad list because I thought that every play he made was a terrible play today.
Yeah. I
have no doubt that he probably made other plays like that today. I mean, this one, he's kind of hitting an unsuspecting guard and blowing him up into the backfield. It's a good play.
Yeah.
That's what linebackers are supposed to do. That's how you fill the run.
Right, but it's.
But they had another one that went 75 yards that he didn't do that on.
Yeah, I mean,
me personally, not you guys, I just put on me. If I'm going to make mention of the play where he just kind of got spun a little bit, I'm also going to point out when he takes a 320-pound offensive lineman and knocks him 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That's worthy of a mention too. Okay,
yeah. Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Paul.
This is not directed at you.
Anything else?
My sort
plays?
of like. Let's just move on.
Alex in Chicago, up on the Patriots Postgame show, presented by Cyber Reason. Hello, Alex.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Hey.
What's going on?
So really quickly on the Mac Jones thing, on the struggle, what it looks like to me he's struggling with is, first of all, I don't think he has any faith in his offensive line. It started to become apparent to me as I was watching the game that he was just really antsy, and I think it affected some of his throws. In addition to that, I give the Chargers secondary a lot of credit. I think they played great today. I mean,
especially considered they all got hurt.
I know they all got hurt, and their backups played amazing because there were
I agree with you.
Throws. There were so many throws that there were contested windows. Our guys were getting bodied. A lot of tight windows, and I think Mac was trying to overextend some of his throws because of the coverage. So
yeah, there was one throw to Myers that the announcers were saying like how he threw it early, he wasn't set, And he puts it in a perfect spot, and you watch the replay, and Jacoby Myers,
out of his reach.
Jacoby Myers is outstretched with one hand, and it barely tipped off his fingernail.
Yeah.
I agree with the way Alex described it. He looked like a guy today that didn't trust his protection.
Yeah.
And I don't think his protection was that bad today.
No, and I just wonder how much of it was the fact that he's not seeing the defense the same way, and he's like, it's that split-second thing where when you get the timing off, and now you're like, ooh, am I going to have that extra second? He wasn't quite sure. Something we'll look at.
I got one question, guys. I'll take it off the air. Just going off of those struggles. Is there a reason why we're not doing more no-huddle stuff? I think at this point we've seen enough of our stagnant offense. I think Mac all season hasn't trusted the O-line. I think our receivers struggle with coverage pretty regularly. Why are we not just upping the pace of play a little bit, just to try to get some quick passes, trying to catch the defense off guard? And I don't know. I guess that's just my question. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I mean, I think it's a tool in certain spots, and I mean, at least in a game like today where you are able to have some success in the running game, I think you kind of want to shorten the game a little bit with this kind of offense. I think
I think that would have been playing right into the Chargers' hands. I agree with you. The Chargers want to play fast. That's what they want to do.
And I think they've run, done some no huddle earlier in the season in games that just mathematically, I'm guessing, didn't result in wins for the Patriots. So they've tried doing that a couple of times with
and you know what too,
questionable success.
I think they've come out a couple times this year. At the start of the second half when they get the ball and they go to it, and it didn't seem like they went to it this time. That was the drive that ended in the fumble. But I mean, they were having some success running the ball or moving the ball, I should say. Without it. Just interesting. I just think it's a tool, the right situation, the right time. I don't think any offense is just hurry up the whole time.
Maybe Alex was watching Michigan State do that to Michigan yesterday.
That worked very well for Michigan State. But I also want to bring up something, Mike. Your key to the game was as spot on as you can get. Mike talked about coming up big in the clutch moments, and this is a game that people might forget because of the way it ended. The Patriots were losing heading into the fourth quarter, and the other team had the ball early in the fourth quarter. I think the Patriots had two plays in the fourth quarter at the start, second and third down. They got stops, they punted, and the Chargers got the ball, and that's the drive that ended in the pick six. You talk about making the plays in the fourth quarter, and Belichick made mention of, which we haven't really done this year. So Mike's sort of foreshadowing, saying that this is a key to the game. They have to find a way to make these plays in the clutch, and they did today. Adrian Phillips came up huge.
Well, I appreciate
and then that drive, that 7-minute drive, that's clutch. Mac Jones, Damian Harris, big-time plays.
I was going to say, though, at the same time, I was disappointed. The Chargers, I thought they were going to be more aggressive than this. I thought they
were disappointed in the Chargers.
Yeah, yeah. I was disappointed. Just 1 4th down. That they went for on that first drive to get their touchdown. But, I think there were a couple spots, just seeing some of their prior aggression that they'd had in games. I was a little bit like, come on, you guys are the ones who are like, why are they going for this? You got to be the why are they going for this,
I wonder if they got spooked a little bit by their poor performance against Baltimore.
Yeah.
They went 1 for 4 on 4th down against Baltimore, and suddenly, Mr. Analytics wasn't looking to go for every 4th down. They went for 1, early in the game, but that was inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I thought, trailing 24-17 in the fourth quarter, 4th and manageable.
I mean, you've seen him go for ones that were less, at least challenging, you would think. But I don't know. I was into that game throughout, just from the back and forth battles that this team has had with Dallas and Cleveland. And, you look at the final score, it looks probably a little closer than it actually was just because of that last touchdown. But I was sweating it out. I thought that they were going to be more aggressive. I thought they were going to be pushing the ball down the field a little more. Credit to the Patriots defense for slowing them down or at least scaring them out of it. But I just I wasn't as impressed as I thought I would be with their aggressiveness.
No, and Paul's right. You deserve credit for your key. Now, you could easily argue that my key was way off. Stick with the tricks, trick plays, all that stuff. However, as Steven in England points out, do you feel worried at all that the first time we don't mix in trick or tricky plays is when the offense starts to stall and struggle a little?
Yeah.
Yes, Steven.
So I'm going to give you thumbs up. Although this is a day that I think they needed to run the ball, and there's nothing necessarily fancy about that.
Yeah, I just think that I think there was one play that could have been maybe developing into a trick play. It looked like there was a second pass coming on the first pass that was
Stevenson.
That went, yeah.
There was a backward pass to
backward
Stevenson,
pass.
And it went down as a run for -1.
Yep.
And I don't know if it was supposed to be a backwards pass or the execution was bad.
Right. But it was interesting to note that, Stephen, that it was the first game in a while where we didn't see any of that. Let's go to Aaron in Michigan. Aaron, you're on the Patriots Postgame Show presented by Cyber Reason. What's up, Aaron?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Hey, Aaron, how are you?
Hey, not bad, not bad. I'm actually really happy, and that's what I called in about. But first, let me touch on you guys' nitpicks because I love your nitpicks.
Nice.
My nitpick is this. I love Matt Jones or Mac Jones, but that back foot slight toss is not going to work in the cold weather. I'm so scared of that happening. And that when the weather turns cold, because his arm strength is just not there, and those little flicks, I just see him going the other way when the winter time comes.
No, there was a little bit of that today when we were watching, and there was a mention of arm strength on that first long downfield pass to Aguilar, where we thought, okay, it was a completion, it was a perfectly thrown ball, but it's not necessarily an indication of arm strength, as you pointed out, Paul, because of the velocity and it was
looked off the safety, gave himself a window to throw it, and he put it right on the fingers.
It was a perfect pass.
Aguilar.
But don't put that in your category of arguing his arm strength, because that's not what that was.
Yeah, I say this all the time, and people get annoyed, but any NFL quarterback can throw the ball 60 yards downfield. You're not in the league if you can't do that.
Right, but on what trajectory
How
can
does
you
it
throw
get there?
Yeah. Yes, that's the difference. What else do you have, Aaron?
Okay, so I have an office job. My office has all Michigan State, all New England Patriots stuff in it.
Oh,
so,
nice.
So everybody knows my two teams. I had a guy come from the other end of the building and talk to me for almost an hour about how San Diego is going to win and how Michigan is going to win.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't wait to go to work on Monday morning when we have an audit. I'll go to sleep early.
That is a good Monday to go to work, Aaron. I am envious of you, buddy. Enjoy it. Enjoy it all, buddy.
Thirdly, can I tell you one more thing?
Yeah.
I know you guys appreciate good commentary, and I was doing a side job today, so I had to listen to the game on my Bluetooth headphones, and I think the game out here in Michigan was on CBS, but it sounded like they were in California based on the commercials. But when Adrian Phillips did the pick six, the commentary on that was excellent by whoever was calling that game. As far as Adrian Phillips comes back and haunts this team on a Halloween. I can't.
Oh yeah.
Do it, but it's worth looking up.
Okay. All right. We'll look for that. Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, there was a little bit of that today, and we already had Gunnar Olszewski on and how he's nightmare fuel for the Chargers, and that continues today. So it all fits into the same theme today. That was a bit of a nightmare for LA today because, as we talked with our behind the enemy lines guest before the show, this was a big game for them too. We look at this as a litmus test for the Patriots. Can they get a win against a good team? But for the Chargers, can they get a win against a team that really embarrassed them last year? And now the Chargers are better in a lot of ways. Their record is certainly better. They're playing better. Herbert seems to be coming into his own. Can they make this materialize in a win against a team in their building with a rookie quarterback? The answer ended up being no. And I'm sure the conversation for LA Chargers fans is a lot different in this postgame in terms of how they're feeling about their team now after that game.
Yeah,
today.
well, 2 games in a row that they've kind of fell on their face and really not moved the ball or produced the kind of offense that they had over the first few weeks of the season. So I still think they're a talented team. I mean, obviously, I think Justin Herbert is an outstanding player, but it's going to take some time. And you wonder what are they missing, because you look at their team and we look at the Patriots offense, and for 7 weeks we've looked at Mac Jones and his weapons and his protection and all those things, and it's hard to come out of that game and say, oh, if we only had a number one receiver, it's like, well, you got one, so where do you go? It's an experience thing, I guess, but you love the coach. The coach is young. Everyone's excited about him and his defense and everything. So it's just a little strange because I think on paper you're checking most of the boxes, but they still have some work to do. And I think today the Patriots, just kind of showed them how the Patriots have won a lot of games, which is just kind of doing the little things, the timely turnovers, special teams, field position, running the ball when you have to. Those little things were enough on a day when the passing offense really kind of went quiet after the first couple possessions.
Yep. Spee in Fresno. What's up,
Spee?
Spee?
What's happening? That was a nice little win there.
There you go.
I was a little surprised.
Excellent win.
Yeah. You guys kind of stole a couple of my points. I was going to make Paul's point about it's impressive the way that they were able to come back, and that's something we haven't seen this season. But I also was totally with Mike that I was a little bit surprised that there wasn't as much fight in the dog in the Chargers as I kind of expected there was. I feel like I'm bad at evaluating the Chargers. Like I remember back to the 2019 divisional round. Like I thought that was going to be a close game. It was absolutely not. But it's obviously a different team now, and so I'm looking at this and I'm trying to figure out. So we're into the season now. But usually by this point, you have a sense of what the team's identity is. You'd be able kind of better to gauge the playoff chances and stuff like that. Really, I'm having a hard time parsing what this team's identity is. I think part of that is like the inconsistency week to week. For instance, I thought special teams this week was maybe better than average. I also think Mac was less accurate than he usually is. I thought, maybe it's also the young guys like Duggar. I didn't think had a good day. I thought Miles Bryant did. I just feel like it's like whack-a-mole. One thing pops up one week, and there's a lack of consistency. It makes it hard to sort of figure out what the identity is of the team. Do you think that this win clarifies that in some ways for you guys?
Well, not really. Do you think, I would ask you this, do you think that the fact that they're, and I don't want to say they're spreading the ball around as if it's like this amazing thing. Like it's just they don't really key on anything right now. Like you have Aguilar 3 catches, Bourne with 4. Bunch of guys have catches. It just, in some ways, it just seems like, yes, it's good that they're spreading the ball around, but it also just doesn't seem like there's anything that they can hang their hat on yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I also think that they have so many new guys, that there's so many moving pieces that it's going to be tough to get different elements of the game playing well on the same day.
Yeah.
And we've seen that so far. With the exception of that Jets game last week, they haven't had a lot of times where everything is played well.
All right,
so
Speak.
It's just back, like basically, is it just like sit back and let the season unfold and don't expect a coherent, consistent identity to emerge? That's kind of where I'm at this point. I don't know what to expect to see kind of cohere as a sort of consistent.
I don't think you can expect any kind of coherence between the Jets and the Chargers when you're playing the Jets at home, which are, they played well enough today, but I don't think it's out of line to say that team has had its share of real big struggles this year. And against a team like the Chargers, you're going to have different performances against two very different teams. So, you might call it inconsistent, but so are your opponents. The consistency of your opponents.
It's all around the league right now.
Yeah, how you're playing. It's everywhere. You call it parity, but you call it. I don't know. I don't know who's going to show up. You don't know what's going to happen. You tell me that Tom Brady's going to throw 4 touchdowns today against the Saints. You're like, oh, I guess that's a win. No. And apparently, from every time I glanced over, it looked like not a great game for the Bucs. So who knows? I don't know what to tell you.
No, and I think it's hard to. I think you're so used to in the olden days where, and I've said this before, when like one loss would be like, oh, there goes home field advantage, or like you were just kind of hanging on playoff seeding and all that. And right now it's AFC especially, it's a jumbled mess. And at 4-4, everything's kind of still on the table for this team. So I think they bought themselves some time. I think the league in general has helped them kind of buy some time and tread some water a little bit to work through some of these issues and maybe get over some of, a couple of those losses that maybe you'd like to have back, especially that Miami one in week 1. So I think they're in a pretty good spot. And if their best football is still ahead of them, I still think, look, we got the only 2 games against the Jets, the only 2 times you didn't turn the ball over. So you continue to shoot for those things and to improve on it. I think you can be better just simply by playing, not beating yourself and not making the stupid self-inflicted mistakes. But there's things brewing here. But I agree with Spee of, what's the bread and butter? What is the, and maybe that's just a stupid thing to even ask. Maybe it's just about winning football games, and whoever steps up, and if they do and you win, that's fine. You don't need to have some.
Back to your point, like just the clutch plays like that you made, the point that you made, 9 for 19 on third down. It's not bad, and you hold the Chargers to 4 for 12. I mean, there's little things.
That's the nuts and bolts of the game.
There's little things, and you can talk about breakdowns, and you like to see this better, and you like to see them capitalize in the red zone, but they're doing more things well now than they were a month ago.
Yeah.
And that's all you can ask.
Right.
Yeah.
Get better.
Get better.
Elias.
Sounded like Logan Mankins.
Elias in Australia. Thanks for joining us on the postgame show presented by Cybereason. What's up? Are you happy?
They
Is
sound the
everybody
same
happy?
in Australia, too.
Is everybody happy? No, it actually swirls the other direction. It swirls in my headphones the other direction.
It's Australia for Hardy.
Anything else?
No.
All right.
That's all I had.
Dave in New Mexico, no shrimp on the Barbie joke. What do you think? You want to throw in
I'm
there?
Andy?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Dave in New Mexico.
Hey,
Hi,
gentlemen.
Dave. Hi,
Hey, Dave.
How you doing?
Really good.
Hey, great, enjoyable game today. I was so excited. Besides a couple of major miscues on big plays, it was nice to see. And I just wanted to get you guys take on. Mac showed me a sense of more confidence out there, like he was gonna take them to the finish line. Your input, and I'll take it offline. And my condolences go out to the Rem Dog, his family and friends.
Yeah.
Take care, guys.
That's nice.
Sure.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
I don't know. I mean, I do have a growing sense of confidence with him a little bit. Today it was a little tough just because I didn't feel like he really had it. But I don't know. There's something about him, I think, that does give you a little bit of confidence in those situations. And, I mean, I think he's performed mostly well in those situations that he's been over these first 8 weeks of the season of his career. It's hard to ask for much more, and I think it's just you generally have a positive feeling towards him generally, but we'll see. There's going to be bigger
I didn't
games
see
coming.
anything that exuded, huge amounts of calm or confidence today. Now, having said that, he didn't look scattered. He didn't look like he was making mistakes. There was one play in particular where I don't even know if the pocket collapsed. He just went down and took what I thought was a bad sack when I thought he had a couple of ways out of it, either by stepping up in the pocket or maybe just shifting to his right. So, but I don't think it was from a lack of confidence. It's just I thought he did enough today to help them win the game. And Paul, you kept saying like the offense did enough to get down.
Stayed out of the way.
Well, what he did was he got the offense moving far enough down the field so that your unbelievable kicker could go in there and kick 4 field goals for you. I'm not joking. That was
they took
part of the job.
To
that
be
he
honest
did
with
today.
you, they didn't really have long drives, but they because of Gunner and taking over with good field position. I mean, I think they took over the 36-yard line once, right? And got a field goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how they ended up getting.
Yeah, the first field goal was a 30-yard drive. The second field goal was a 10-yard drive. Then the next field goal was a 31-yard drive. Like, they didn't move the ball.
Yeah, how did they end up with that great field position, though? I remember it.
It was
the nightmare.
Oh, that's right.
It was the stop.
Nightmare fuel.
It was the nightmare.
It was the stop on the goal line by the Chargers, and then they forced the 3 and out.
That's right.
Let's listen. Sometimes the defense wins you a game.
Yeah.
The defense won you a game today.
Yep.
That's the way we drew it up in preseason. Before it started, we're going to run the ball, and Damian Harris ran for 80 yards today, and we're going to play defense. And teams aren't going to be in the 30s against us.
Yep.
And, the defense, I mean, the Chargers didn't have many more yards than the Patriots, 369 to 352. It's not like the Chargers lit it up either offensively. The Patriots shut down the Chargers. I give the Chargers defense credit for keeping them in the game on a day when their offense didn't have it. And ultimately, the difference was Mac Jones didn't have it, Justin Herbert didn't have it. But Justin Herbert threw a pick 6, and Mac Jones didn't have any mistakes.
Right. By the way,
that's why you won.
Yep.
On that pick 6, Michael Hurley retweeted the Patriots video of Adrian Phillips' pick 6, and he said, I was wondering why this throw stunk so much. No way to know exactly how much it forced the bad throw, but Christian Barmore, who we mentioned on the good list, treating the two big men like a blocking sled.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of over-analysis, and they had some, I thought, on the game during the broadcast. He clearly threw it outside, and the receiver clearly went inside. Yeah. He didn't throw it where he didn't want to throw it. He might be 100% in the wrong. He may have read the coverage wrong. Bill may have fooled him. That's entirely possible. Yeah. But he didn't have a bad throw. He threw it where he wanted to throw it, and the receiver wasn't where he thought he was going to be.
Yeah, I think I'm watching it now.
Not on the same page.
It's
right.
They weren't on the same page, but defensively, in addition,
Barmore causing problems.
Barmore is a beast.
He didn't.
I mean, that's a completely separate issue.
Yeah.
Didn't have much to do with this play.
I think you're right, and it's easy to convince yourself of it when you watch it in slow motion and you watch it 16 times, and that's what you focus in on. But Paul, you're so right. I think he threw the ball exactly where he wanted to, and the fact that Barmore was, pushing the two guys on the right closer and closer to him with every split second didn't really impact.
Well, all of these things can be true.
Yeah,
like Barmore could have impacted the pocket.
Yep.
Barmore could have treated those two guys like blocking sleds. Yeah. I think Barmore has done that periodically over the last month, especially lately.
Yeah.
But Justin Herbert threw that ball pretty much exactly where he wanted to. He may be 1,000% wrong again. He may not have supposed to have done that. Based on the coverage, Jared Cook might have been in the right place, and Herbert read it wrong.
Yeah, and in my recollection of the play, it looked like it was all in time. Like, it didn't look like...
Yeah, which
like
is why...
when he threw it, I'm like, completion, just because it looked like it was in rhythm.
It was in rhythm. It was a matter... Now, it was going to be short of the sticks. He was looking to make a play, and he was looking to have him pick up the first down after the catch.
Mm-hmm.
But that was not like an errant throw. and we saw some of those today.
Yeah.
Even the first interception wasn't an errant throw. It went right off of Eckler's hands.
Yeah. I mean, not like Rex Burkhead today.
Take it.
Oh,
what was that, Rex?
Let's go to Pat Nagel.
Yeah, that's
Pat.
right. Rex Burkhead's throw.
Yes. Pat, hello.
Those tricky Texans.
Reference.
Patty.
What's up, guys?
Patty, how are you?
Good. I had to take out Bluetooth. Sorry.
You giving out candy?
Oh, yeah, no. I was out trick-or-treating, so I missed the whole fourth quarter, but
You missed the whole fourth quarter.
And you call yourself a Patriots fan.
You got to send the kids out on their own, Pat. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Kids are resilient nowadays.
The little ones, the twins are 6, and Hardy, before
6.
on the pregame show.
I'd have had the
wanted
red
to
Solo
hang
cups
on
in
to
their hand by 6, please.
The girls wanted to say hi to all you guys on the pregame show before you guys hung up on me.
Oh, that was Hardy.
But,
yeah, that was me. Sorry.
That's all right. But
he hates kids.
Hey, this is what we wanted to see. We wanted to see him beat a good team, and hopefully, I would like to see them keep this momentum rolling. Go into Carolina, try and knock those guys off. They got a big win today, and I mean, the next 2 games, I think they're going to be a big tell on how this team's going to finish the season. Once we hit to that 10-game mark, if we're sitting there at 6-4, I think there really is a clear path to the playoffs. So we just have to get it done, man. But I'm psyched. Can't wait to finish watching the fourth quarter, and I'll talk to you guys on Tuesday.
All right, appreciate it.
Happy Halloween to you and your family.
Yeah, sorry about the kids.
They won.
What?
I mean,
Don't tell him. He's got a DVR later.
I mean, seriously, should I have...
That's got to be the first ever call to a postgame show of a game that he didn't
even see.
And should I have kept him on the phone so that the kids could say hello?
No.
What are we doing?
I love Cousin Patty, but no.
I love Cousin Patty too, but as Felger used to say, you want to call the night show starting at 6 o'clock. If you have kids.
I love when like some innocent kid who's clearly like a teenager will call in and they'll be like, you want to call back Adam Jones 6 to 11
because he's just so sweet and
because Felger just like has no use for life in general.
Yeah, he doesn't have that.
Let's go to Marcus in New Jersey. Marcus, you're on the Patriots Postgame presented by Cyber Reason. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Marcus.
Good.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween to you.
Yeah, and just one question. That first down on her lawn, that was Paul flag. I don't know what went wrong on that first down that got flagged. So can you tell me exactly how that happened?
Paul remembers the play, I'm sure.
I'm going to let Mike
he
talk
filled
about
in for Isaiah Wynn. Isaiah Wynn went out with an injury, and he came in, and he spun the guy around, kind of held him.
Yeah, I didn't watch the game, but I was really watching it. I know how the Chargers were very tested. They were tight. That late touchdown to close it out, and we ended up with the victory. I was enjoying a Dracula Bela Lugosi Halloween, my girlfriend.
Nice.
And
Nice
so
reference.
I just want to say I had the best trick-or-treat ever. I watched it. She was happy, and I'm just happy that we got the victory in L.A.
I'm happy too,
Nice.
Marcus. It sounds like you're having a good
Yeah.
Halloween.
I know. It's going to be a great night tonight for you.
I am.
So that's back-to-back calls of people who didn't watch the game.
It's not a
We
prerequisite.
take
to
all
call the
types
postgame
here.
show.
We take you all.
Just because we're the Patriots postgame show doesn't mean you need to watch the Patriots.
No, of
Just
course
call
not.
in, talk to us.
Of
We'll
course
talk.
not.
You wanna,
Jaws,
Want to talk Bela Lugosi? Let's have at it.
Rex Burkhead, whatever.
And there we go. There's the Vikings striking first
Adam
there in the
Thielen.
Sunday night game. Very, very nice. By the way, they show the guy blowing the big Viking horn. Does he really?
brother.
Is there any chance that's real, or is it just a sound effect and they have the guy pretending to blow the Viking?
Oh, I want to believe it's real.
I never thought of that.
I can't.
Oh, what a charade. So just, no, don't blow.
never-
Just go up there, put your lips up to it.
Yes.
We'll cue you, and then
Yes.
we'll sound the horn.
I never thought of
take
that.
your lips off.
You just ruined it for me.
I-
See, you really helped me with the post-game show when you informed me that I'd be home an hour earlier than I was anticipating because I had
Math.
Math is difficult for me. But then you just ruined
I
that.
gotta
Now-
watch it
now
closer.
I think the skull guy.
Right, because
is
then there's a
fake.
guy who's like on the button waiting for his lips to
Yeah.
go down.
Yeah.
And then his lip, and then he's off. I want to believe he's blowing it.
I don't think he is. I mean, they wouldn't
Yeah,
leave that
blow
up to
it.
chance. No.
No.
All right, we'll step aside. We'll come back. More Patriots postgame presented by Cyber Reason. Thank you to Bose. Proud to be the official sound and official headphones of the New England Patriots and the NFL. Bose Quiet Comfort Earbuds. Rule the quiet. Learn more at Bose.com.
Defending against cyber attacks requires seeing in the dark, understanding and ending every threat to your organization on computers, mobile, and the cloud. It takes Cyber Reason. End cyber attacks from endpoints to everywhere.
TouchView Interactive is here to support your hybrid learning, distance learning, and video conferencing needs with easy-to-use tools that allow end users to collaborate, interact, and present seamlessly. TouchView Interactive offers a comprehensive line of accessories and software to support your audio-visual needs. Outfit your classrooms and presentation spaces with the future of interactive display technology. Visit touchview.com for more info. Offered by the Oakers Company, celebrating 100 years of service and support.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
For all we know, he didn't even want Wilson.
Why don't we give
It
him
wasn't his pick.
Why don't we give him a couple of years before we decide we pity him?
Yeah. Well, I just
Can't just say
tough
douche.
Wow!
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Something else that shouldn't bear mentioning at all, but I saw it a couple of times on Red Zone today, where guys intercepted a ball and got up and just kind of like started celebrating. I'm like, are you sure you were touched, dude? So for Adrian Phillips to get up and run that thing back, he deserves a tiny bit of credit, even though it should be automatic. And we see guys doing it all the time who are clearly touched. I saw a couple of times today, Red Zone during the 1 o'clock games, of a pick, and a guy stood up and starts like saluting the crowd. I'm like, I don't know if you got, yeah, you should run. You should now, maybe a whistle was blown. I didn't hear it, blah, 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 blah. But anytime I see a guy with a wherewithal to make a big play like that, and then in that split second, remember, oh, I can take this ball the other way now. I'm glad he did, because it doesn't always happen.
Football's like the only sport where the players suddenly get caught up in not understanding what is going on with the rules as far. Like, these kind of things happen where guys like go down before the play's over, or everybody stops, or I mean, even the play where everyone dragged the Patriots into the end zone. Like, is that, you never quite know. There's such a gray line when like the play starts and stops.
Can I just,
in football.
I'm glad you brought that play up. I hate that play. I hate that's. You talk about things that you see in red zone now all the time.
Yeah.
You see that happen now 4 or 5 times a week. There's a play that gets 4 yards, and there's a big pile, no one's moving, and then all of a sudden the offensive linemen get the leverage from behind, and the pile gets pushed for an extra 10 yards.
Oh, yeah.
I hate it. Just blow the whistle. The play is over.
And like, what was both Herbert and Mac doing on separate plays? They're running up to like give their running back a butt push. Come on.
I thought Mac learned his lesson earlier in the year when he pretty much got told by David Andrews, "Hey, don't do that, dummy."
But it was
that's what I'm here for.
It was another
thing.
No. It was another thing that I sort of threw on the list of Mac doesn't look right in the first half. It wasn't just that he got behind, try to get out in front of, I think it was Harris, on a running play. And was trying to push the pile from behind, which would have been one thing. He immediately hands the ball off, and he runs into the hole where Harris is running to try to throw a block. Like, there's no play designed for that.
Get out of there.
Get out. It wasn't like a reverse where, sometimes the quarterback pitches it, and he's going to get out in front, lead, see if he can create a screen. That's understandable. That wasn't what that play was.
And that's one of the only things with Mac.
Weird.
And it's just any rookie quarterback, but he just has a lot of the kind of rookie moments. Some of the rookie kind of what do you call it?
Joie de vivre.
Yeah, joie de vivre. There's just something about and it's all rookie quarterbacks. It's just the experience, and you just want that Joe Cool kind of. All right, hand it off. You go.
I'm watching Roethlisberger earlier today on the other end of the spectrum. He don't, as my son used to say, he don't do nothing.
Right.
And I mean, it's like he barely sells the fake
anymore.
Oh, no,
right? I know, he just looks back.
And then just kind of stands there with his hands on his hips. What's he going to do, I wonder?
Nothing.
Aren't you supposed to be doing something? Like, maybe you continue to try and sell it to the guy on the other side.
That's great.
Maybe
And meanwhile,
something?
Mac's like, come on, I'm going to push him for 3 extra inches. Like, just settle down, rookie quarterback.
But I'm telling you, if you go back and watch that play, it wasn't just that he was pushing from behind. He was trying to get in front of him.
Oh, geez.
Like, to create.
Let me lead.
Like he was Jakob Johnson. It was
Follow
bizarre.
me!
I'm telling you.
Mac, settle down.
He was out of sorts in the first half.
We need you for like a decade. We don't need you leading, playing fullback.
Oh, God.
Yeesh.
Yeah, they think it might be an ACL for James Winston.
It's just such a bummer. I mean, this sport is so hard. I mean, Jameis Winston, we all know his story, and kind of brings some unintentional comedy for sure. But at the same time, like, goes there, gets his shot.
It was fun watching him take advantage of that shot.
It's good to see the Saints, being able to go from Breeze to him and him getting another shot and having success. And you felt good for him, and a big win for him. And now you're kind of like, well, we won the battle, but we might have lots of war.
In my
Pyrrhic victory, if you will.
Thank you. Yes.
Paul and I are taking different paths in our advancing years. I find myself just rooting for more guys. Just being more of a cheerleader for life. Paul,
I actually strongly agree with that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that the way Mike said it about Jameis Winston, he's like a kind of an unintentional comedy scale guy.
Yeah.
But I think he's fun to root for.
Yeah, he is.
Like, did you see that clip earlier in the year where it might have been the Patriots game where somebody, I forget who it was trying to get the team focused before the game. Might have been like Demario Davis or something like that. And they're like, look at the man next to you. Look to the man next to you. And it was like a symbolic, kind of thing. Did you see this?
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, but I'm loving it.
So they're all together, right? And he's like, lean on each other. Lean on your brothers. Look at the man next to you for support. And James goes. It was the most bizarre thing. He's funny. He's not. I don't know how much he's trying to be funny and how much he's trying to be sort of ironic.
Right.
But he's a guy worth rooting for. I know. Listen. If you try to get into he's not a good guy or this guy's a bad guy, I know he has some things in his past that probably aren't the nicest things. But I mean, he threw 30 picks. He was the butt.
But 30 touchdowns.
He was the butt of the
fun
league.
To watch.
Right. His career was all but over, and now he's getting a chance to
and then boom,
to replace a guy.
And now he's going to be rehabbing for a year.
I agree with you, Hardy. I think that was well put. sometimes you get a little older and you're like, instead of just like, I'm only rooting for my team. I hate everybody else. Like Fred, if you will.
Right.
I think sometimes it's kind of fun to watch and see how other guys perform when they get a chance. Look at this Cooper Rush kid coming out in this first drive in this Sunday night game. He's thrown 3 or 4 passes. The Cowboys have a nice drive going.
Yeah, it's just one of the hardest things about this sport of, getting to know these guys and knowing how hard they work physically all year long. And you want to think that there's like this grand purpose or narrative that's going to, and sometimes it's just, they just get hurt and it just gets it's just a season-ending injury and there's no poetry to it. It just sucks. And I just feel bad for guys like that, especially when it's good for the league, when you have a good quarterback on a good team playing well. It's just it's better for the league if he's on that team.
And I haven't gone all happy-go-lucky Pollyanna. It's like the reason why I end up rooting for more guys, it's the guys that I know of or know something about, as opposed to rooting for a bunch of bums that I don't know anything about. And I'm like, well, what do I really care?
Yeah.
At least I care something.
It's not
for Jameis
Winston. Everybody deserves a trophy kind of mentality.
No.
These
are just guys trying to do a job for our entertainment.
I think it's kind of fun to look around the league and see different games. Like I
was rooting for Dak in every game
that he played this year. There's a guy that I personally can't stand. Right, I think he's one of the greatest players who's ever played the game. Aaron Rodgers. Right, Aaron Rodgers. I can't stand him.
Yes,
I haven't liked him for a long time. I don't like his on-field demeanor, and there's things that he does that rub me the wrong way. If you're not impressed with Green Bay going to Arizona the other night and winning a game with no receivers, I don't know what to tell you if you can't look at a game like that and say, wow, that was an impressive win.
Paul, especially after the first game of their season where it looked like their season was over. The way they opened up, it was against the Saints.
Yeah.
And they just got absolutely shellacked. And I'm thinking, like, oh, this is what Aaron Rodgers
is
going to be like when he doesn't want to be there anymore. Oh, no. That was just that one game. Don't you worry about it. So I'm with you. He's fun to watch.
Yeah. Maybe not fun to hang out with, but to watch.
No. He's a decent golfer, though.
Yeah.
I'd play with him, sure.
You got to see him playing guitar video. It's unintentional comedy of the highest degree.
Oh, God. Lance in Korea. What's up, Lance? Thanks for calling into the post-game show. 27-24, the win over the Chargers in L.A. today. What's up, Lance?
Good morning from the South Korea.
Yes.
Oh, good morning, Lance.
Very good.
It's nice waking up at 4 in the morning and then just have your heart racing. That's a good time.
So 4 to 7 a.m.
Question
that was
for
the
you guys.
All right.
Go ahead.
Do you guys feel like this is a Patriots team? Because if you look at the season, I mean, they've kind of played one bad game, and that was against the Saints. But the other 3, the Bucs, Dallas, the Miami game, couple things could have swung the other direction. I'm being a little stupid positive, but
no, but that's being a fan.
7-1, 6-2.
I think you could just as easily have called today a loss or Houston a loss, but that's being a fan. You don't look at it that way, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I'll just say this. I mean, I was here in 2019, 2020, and now this year. And I mean, this year, just as far as engagement in the games and how exciting they are, like this season is, for me, far surpassed the last 2 seasons already. Just, 8 games in, just with, despite the losses, but just how they fight, how the, good teams coming in. It hasn't all been perfect, and the Jets game was their, best complete game so far. But I agree. I think there's just a lot to like about the team, and you just know it's another group of guys who don't really give in. They continue to fight. They continue to bust their butts, and they were 2-4. Now they're 4-4. We'll see where they can go.
I love these.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel like they're out of it, and it's kind of a Belichick thing they don't really get blown out. There was a couple bad games last year, but it feels like they're kind of on that path of being kind of a Patriots team again. So I guess that's the positive part of me, the fan part of me that feels that way.
All right, Lance.
I think that's a great way to look at the Patriots in general, because I think you're looking at the rebuild, and you're seeing signs of success in the rebuild. Some elements that, like Matthew Judon, Mac Jones, Christian Barmore. I mean, there's elements of new things that are working out that are reasons I think to be excited about things, as we head to the second half of the season. We're almost halfway through now with the 17. We're sort of right in the middle now. I was just laughing, like on Twitter, like Who did you pick today?
The Pats.
Who did you pick?
Pats.
Yeah, and I picked the Pats. Like
Yeah.
we all had the Pats with the points, right?
Yeah.
So, guys on Twitter, please keep picking against them. Thanks. Okay. Because the only game I got wrong with the Patriots in the spread all year was last week, I believe.
Too much.
Yeah.
Oh no! Wait a minute. No, that wasn't that game because I had the Patriots winning 27-9. They covered last week.
And Deuce was the one who actually picked them to win outright today. So you actually, had
right. I mean, I think we both had. I think you had the exact score. Did you not have 27-24?
I had 27-24. It was flipped.
Yeah. I
so
mean,
if you want to call that picking against them, I'm picking them to play a closer game than what odds makers and everyone else. And we all said they can absolutely win this game today. It was going to be close. My prediction of them going for it on a fourth down when they could have kicked a field goal, that did not come to fruition. But, yeah, score-wise, we're all real close. Look, that game came down to the wire, and we all thought the Pats were either, A, going to be covering the spread or winning outright in Deuce's case. So don't accuse us of picking against them. That's untrue.
Like I said, that was one of the rare times this year where a game unfolded very similar to the way I thought it was going to heading into the game. I thought it was going to be back and forth, and that's what it was. And the Patriots made the plays in the fourth quarter to win, just like Bill Belichick said.
Greg in Tennessee, you're on the Patriots Postgame Show presented by Cyber Reason. What's going on, Greg?
Doing good. How's everyone doing? Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Happy All Hallows Eve.
Just got back from trick-or-treating with my boys, but definitely kept up with the game as well. I'm somewhat impressed. I'm not going to lie. I'm impressed with the win, and I'm happy for what they got. But if I'm being honest with myself, I really feel it was kind of like the Houston game. I wasn't really impressed. It kind of felt sloppy. There was just, stupid penalties here and there. But overall, there were some key plays that really kept the Patriots together to win this game, and that I am definitely satisfied with. They played their heart out towards the very last half of the game, and honestly, I can say it was quite the treat. Let me just put it that way.
Oh, I see what you did. I see what you did there.
See,
I think he's
to me, that gets
he's been a little hard on the Patriots.
Well, and that's just it. To me, this is where it gets too nitpicky. You're talking about a team that was 2-4. Okay, right? Were they not 2-4?
But let's just say that for argument's sake, you think the Patriots and the Chargers are the exact same.
Okay.
Okay. Like, do you think that this was like the Houston game?
No.
Where they stumbled all over themselves and turned the ball over constantly?
No.
You saw me during the Houston game, Paul.
Oh, you were mad.
I was not mad.
You were some kind of mad.
But I mean,
in retrospect, we might look at that comeback in the Houston game, and they saved their season.
Yeah.
With that second half.
Overall scheme of things, a team that's gone from 2-4, a blowout win over the Jets, and then an imperfect but good defensive effort win on the road against a team that is supposed to be much better, and a team that was.
All right, they went I just want to the whole much better thing is a little like
they're supposed to be better than you.
Yeah, they were supposed to be better, but this is not like Patriots beat the Rams in the Super Bowl.
No.
Upset.
No.
The Chargers were better. But let's, Yeah. That's why I wanted to say I think he's being a little nitpicky with the comparisons to Houston. Houston sucks.
Houston's a bad
The Chargers
team.
are a good team. You beat a good team today.
Right.
And I think you are getting to the point where you're a good team. I think the Matthew Judons are starting to tell you, this is what we think we are, and now we're starting to play like
Get it rolling.
Right. When you play against good teams, it's not going to be 60. You're not going to play the Jets and have it be, we're not going to make a bad play all day. When you play against a good team, the good team that you're playing is going to make some plays too.
Right.
I'd love to hear what the Patriots thought when they got off the field and they saw the Jets beat Cincinnati 34-31. Last week's win looked.
Well, that they're blaring all over the place. I told you there was a member of the organization that was looking for me last week to say that.
Yeah.
No one else beats them 54-13. I said, I didn't even say anything bad about the win.
Yeah.
It was a preemptive strike for when I go on Felger and Mass.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
They know.
Oh yeah.
They know.
That's what I got to deal with behind the scenes.
I love how Paul doesn't consider himself a member of the organization. Another member of the organization is how you should phrase that. You're part of the team, Paul. Think about that.
I don't think so.
I think you are.
My paycheck and pension would disagree.
What pension's that?
You don't get one.
Yeah.
That's my point. You know why we don't get one? We're not considered to work for the New England Patriots.
On that note, we'll go to Catherine in Hawaii. Hello, Catherine.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Great.
Grand.
One, they didn't show the game in Hawaii, so I was actually stuck going between ESPN's Gamecast and the Red Zone.
Yeah, but
Hawaii.
But you live in Hawaii.
And it's almost 3 o'clock here, so I still have a couple of hours to get candy from Target until Halloween starts.
Nice.
But I don't know. I find myself a little disappointed because I feel like the offense took a step backwards in Mac's progress.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like we didn't really add to what has been working well since week 1. And I'm not sure if I'm the only one who feels this way.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep having to remind myself to temper my expectations, and I am surprised, that our defense and special teams were consistent today. But I don't know, it just feels like they threw out half the playbook after the first couple of drives.
Yeah. Well, I think they went with what was working, and they tried a few things that didn't work today, Catherine. But it's kind of like it's like a round of golf. It's like, well, you got the driver straightened out in round 2, and then in round 3 you couldn't hit drives anymore. Yeah, but your short game was incredible, and you made every putt that you looked at. That was their defense today. Yeah. So, to ask all things to come together each week like they did last week. I'm not saying you're being unreasonable, Catherine, but you're being unreasonable.
And the other part too, you just got a new driver. You've only played 7 rounds on it, and you're kind of inconsistent with it. And you're lucky that the day that you're really not hitting that driver so well that your short game kind of came through.
I'll tell you right now, I'm breaking all this crap out this week.
My
it's going to be on Patriots.com.
From 150 out.
But
I would also like to see. I'd also like to see them pound the ball in the red zone instead of taking it from shotgun.
But Catherine, this is where I have to check myself because I was begging for them to take shots into the end zone,
but
from
not from
4 yards.
But not from the 1. They had third and 4th and goal from the 1.
Right,
and they're throwing the ball. And I thought Catherine's right. I think they should have been lining up and playing some power football.
I just don't want to be accused of being a hypocrite every day of my life.
No.
I'm trying to just give myself a break every once in a while.
Checked yourself.
I'm giving you the break by
yourself.
saying it's different than throwing a screen on 3rd and 10 from the 15 as opposed to running the ball on the 1 yard line.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Catherine, thanks for the call.
Mahalo.
All right, have a great one.
Happy Halloween.
What does mahalo mean?
I don't know. You said it. I think you offended me.
We're there yet? No.
Oh,
Next month.
Manui is the name to say.
So that's back-to-back call. This might. I'm gonna shock you here.
Francisco.
Hold on 1 second, Francisco.
Hold on.
That's back-to-back callers that were sort of
on the other side of the planet.
We won, but right.
Yeah.
We won, but
want more.
One
demanding. Let's go.
That might be the best sign that you get.
Yeah.
That might be the best sign you get. Don't lower the bar.
We're not happy.
Don't just say, well, we won and that's all we have to do. No, we're looking for excellence. We're looking to get back to where we were. And, maybe the fact that maybe some people aren't satisfied might be as positive a sign as you can get.
Okay. All right. Francisco in North Carolina, what's up?
What's up, guys? It's my first time calling. I usually listen to the show after it comes out on the podcast when I'm at working.
Nice.
But
cool story.
Today I wanted to call in and ask a few questions. So after seeing the way we played today, do you see us making any moves before the trade deadline?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I really don't. I think there's a chance that they could make a small, a minor move here or there. You get a Calvin Munson.
You get a Munson down the middle of nowhere.
But I don't think I don't think they're in a position where they can afford to give up any resources to get anything.
Yeah, I mean, I would say cornerback, maybe running back would be positions to consider, but they signed a couple guys to the practice squad, veterans this week, and it sounds like Sean Wade is back from his concussion. So I mean, they got 3 guys on the roster that might warrant some consideration at cornerback. But I agree with Paulie. I don't want to give up anything. I don't want to give up a 3rd-round pick right now for a guy who's going to be here for 10 games and maybe help you make the playoffs. I'd rather hold on to your assets, maybe let a younger guy give it a shot and roll with what they got.
Okay. Yeah. So what got me on thinking about something like that was I'm sitting here watching the Cowboys game and then they made mention. I forgot that Lel Collins came back from suspension already. I I totally forgot it had already been the amount of time. And then he didn't even get a starting spot back. So I was thinking of like the possibility of getting somebody like that.
No.
Who we talking?
Lale Collins from.
Oh.
Tackle. I think they're in the middle of it. I think they're going to hang on to him. But something I just thought of while you were talking was, we talked about Winston, Dak. Jarrett Stidham maybe is that you've activated him on Monday. You could maybe move him. I don't know. Just something to say. Quarterback.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's phone's ringing off the hook, I'm sure. Francisco, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. Here's Mac in Scotland. Is it Mac or Mark? Excuse me. Mac.
It's pronounced Mac.
I said Mac because it's Scotland.
Mac.
I think he's probably got the best reasoning here for people who may not be thrilled today. And whether it's good or not, or a positive sign or not, Paul, remains to be seen. But he said, same mistakes every week. Holding penalties, taking big runs or a score off the board, failing to convert in the red zone, allowing too much pressure on Jones, fumbling the ball, already have more this year than all of last season.
Yep.
Giving up big plays on key third downs, and generally playing the run well, only to give 2 or 3 big runs on missed tackles.
Yeah.
So when do we start to correct some, if not all, of these issues? So for what Mark is saying, I kind of get. I get.
But
his
do you
point.
think that all of those things were as bad as they were, say, 3 weeks ago?
No.
Let's just tackle one of them. Yeah. Pressure on Mac Jones. Do you think Mac Jones was under the amount of pressure that he was under the first 5, 6 games?
Taking like 10 quarterback hits in a game? No.
Right?
No, I think it was very good
ball
point,
protection. They fumbled once in the game, and I'm not saying that that's okay that they fumbled, but they went 4 weeks with like multiple turnovers every week. They fumbled once. Bad fumble. Can't happen, but I think it is better. And then let's call them holding penalties and not holding penalties that take big runs off the board and touchdowns. Like, the fact that it was a holding penalty allowed you to get the big play, as Mike pointed out at the time. Like, yeah, they've had some costly penalties in key spots. The Chargers had some costly penalties in key spots today, too. It's part of football.
And then there's George in Virginia who says, overall, I feel pretty good about it. They just need to lighten up on the mistakes. He also said the Hardy Halloween costume in the pregame was great. So
what was it?
That was Scott and Lacey Peterson.
Oh, yeah. Just fantastic.
I still can't get over that.
I got to explain that to Beth when I get home.
Oh,
she's gonna love.
I will never. I will never.
It's the reveal of bringing out my co-host on stage that really sold it. With the pillow under the shirt.
Has Marcy ever been on stage and gotten a huge laugh? I imagine like that before or since, like that moment. Like I have to imagine that's a pivotal moment for her, unless she was someone like yourself who does this kind
theatrical.
of thing. Yeah.
No,
performance. Performance.
No, it was a standout moment. All right, we'll step aside here one more time, come back and wrap up the Patriots postgame show presented by Cyber Reason. Stay with us.
Defending against cyber attacks requires seeing in the dark, understanding and ending every threat to your organization on computers, mobile, and the cloud. It takes Cyber Reason. End cyber attacks from endpoints to everywhere.
Football's back and it's time to go big. Pepsi pulled pork sandwiches are game day greatness. Now we're ready for game day. Check out some more awesome recipes on madeforpatriotswatching.com.
It all starts now.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
If the guy who overruled him is correct, I want the other guy fired.
Yeah.
Fired.
Send him back to.
How's that?
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
I want him fired.
Maybe harsh. Maybe a little harsh on that. I don't. You know what? I often say this. I never advocate for people losing their jobs. I want to walk that one back.
Okay.
Am I
But
allowed?
refs, it's not their full. It's not their
I
full
think
job.
I think the
It's
refs
their
are terrible.
part-time
I think the
job.
refs are terrible, but I don't advocate for
They
people
can keep
getting
their
fired.
their normal everyday job. It's just the weekend.
Their
reffing
normal
thing. We
everyday
gotta
job
end
that pay them 3 times what they make
Right.
as refs. It's that what they
I'll never
need to
get
be
that.
is full time. They need to be full time, like
studying reffing.
well, just baseball umpires
Practicing
don't do
reffing.
anything else. I don't think hockey refs do anything else. I know these guys only work a couple of days a week, but they're making what $150,000 a year being NFL referees. Yeah, figure out
least. I think they make more
find
than
some guys. And Paul, to your point earlier, the game has just passed some of these guys by.
Right.
It's
Half
like
of them should be retired from their other jobs at least by now.
they're like in their 60s out there trying to keep up with the
2
plays.
jobs.
It's like they're a lot older than me. It's like I can't tell what's going on in real time, especially at field level. How do you expect those guys to do it? It's just not fair.
No.
Not fair to them. Not fair to the players and the teams.
not fair to
the
Paul.
fans.
I think part of it is a lot of those guys I think it's good that they've turned it over a lot lately, and they're getting some younger guys in place. I think part of the problem is the game has passed a lot of those guys by. They can't keep up with the action. I think they've done a good job. Now maybe you've sacrificed some experience in some cases, but I think in the long run it's better off. You get some guys that can keep up with these plays and do a better job. Now, it's unfortunate when you have a game decided on a horrific call today. That Jets tackle on that was as bad a call as you could see with a game on the line, and to have I think it was Craig Rolstedt whose crew called it. He defending the call. Like, I would just rather have you just say, yeah, that's probably not a call we're looking for in that situation. If anything, they got it backwards. Like the Jets running back lowered his helmet to initiate
hit
the
him into
contact.
the head. Yeah.
That was really, really bad, and that's a failed 3rd and 11, and takes away any chance that Cincinnati had to get the ball back.
There's an email here that I know Paul will want to address because you addressed it multiple times at the end of the game. Joe in Osprey, Florida. Maybe you could clarify for me, but I thought the clock did not stop on out-of-bounds plays until the 5-minute mark of the half. If so, why were guys dropping down to keep from going out of bounds before they hit the 5-minute mark? Paul?
Yeah, I was on this live. There was opportunities for more yards, and until they got into field goal range, I don't think that's what should have been happening. The clock does not stop until 5 minutes. It took like the 3rd time for that to happen for Iron Eagle to finally correct Charles Davis for applauding guys for sacrificing yardage, for staying in bounds to keep the clock running when the clock would never have stopped in the first place. I think that, sometimes you overthink things. And the goal on that last drive should have been, we need to go down and score to make it a 2-score game.
Put 'em away.
And that ends it. And that's what they did. The goal should have been, we need to take clock. Clock was not a factor. There was too much time. They had a 7-minute drive, and they didn't take nearly the rest of the game. Right? The goal needs to be, we need to get down and score.
Yes.
So we end this game. And
yes.
Thankfully, that's what the Patriots did. That's what their goal was. Because that was a great drive. That was probably their best drive of the game.
Yeah.
Halp in Colorado says, good game today, gentlemen. After a good week of listening to you on Patriots Unfiltered, thanks and keep up the excellent and informative shows. P.S. What is the Patriots Unfiltered address for mailing you a gift?
Oh.
So, I mean, you can just send it to Gillette Stadium.
Nope.
I'm
One
sure it'll find
Patriot
it.
Place, Foxborough, Massachusetts.
But feel free to include a gift for the Patriots pregame and postgame show. I mean, you don't have to necessarily make it just for Patriots
basically the same
Unfiltered.
people, though.
It's not. There's a
Mostly.
couple of key differences, one in particular. And there's at least one guy on that Patriots Unfiltered show who doesn't need any gifts. I'm just saying.
That's probably. I agree with that.
Okay? At least one.
I don't know who you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about based on everything that you say about that guy.
Freddie? Boss man?
Uncle Freddie.
That's because he has everything.
He has everything.
What do you get the man who has everything?
That's right. You get him a gift from Halp. Here we go. Russell in Arkansas. With that win, are we buying or selling at the deadline? We already addressed that a little bit. I don't know. Does your mind change for you right now? I was leaning toward buying, leaning toward selling at the deadline.
I could have been convinced to sell had they lost. Now I'm sort of indifferent.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd still sell some pieces if somebody wanted to give you some draft picks for them, but I don't know. I mean,
I just don't think they have anything
I don't think
that's
anybody
really,
wants.
Yeah.
You got some guys that are on IR that you can't really move.
6th, 7th round kind of guys,
Do you think that catch that Harry had today will spark him on to?
Oh, I think you could trade him. I would absolutely think about trading him. But again, 6th, 7th round picks, that's what you're getting for the guys that you're looking to sell.
Yeah. Scott in the UK, man after my own heart with the final email of the night. Good evening, gents. Good to watch a game that isn't ending in the early hours. Round of applause for 2021's Patriots MVP, Nick Folk. Can we name the good list after him yet? Have a good night. Cheers, Scott.
This is 2 years in a row. He's basically the team's MVP.
I'm telling you, it's the Nick Folk good list. At some point, we're going to have to consider a name change unless somebody buys a sponsorship. Oh, it's already sponsored.
Maybe Nick Folk would buy a sponsorship.
You know what? We can't. The good, the bad, and the injured.
Yeah,
It's
Theragun,
and the good, the bad, and the training room now.
Right.
Presented by Theragun. So thanks again to Theragun for the Theragun minis and everybody involved with
Maybe
the
we
Patriots.
should just give Nick on a
show.
Theragun. Maybe. We'll think about it.
All right. Presented by Cybereason once again. Great game. Final thoughts on the game, Mike, before we wrap?
Yeah, great game. Pulled it out a little bit unconventional way, but excited to be 500. Let's go to Carolina and keep it rolling.
All right, Paul?
Defense. Defense was really impressive today. Put on the field in some, the field position itself wasn't bad, but bad spots, bad situations where you couldn't allow a drive, and they didn't every time. Big time performance.
Finding a different way to win today,
yes.
and that's a sign of a good team. And I think the Patriots are definitely trending toward a good team. So I will give them points for.
If I had to say one way or the other, it's like a nonsensical PU argument. Yeah, are they good team or bad team? You have to say one or the other.
A good team.
Got to say good.
Got to
say
say
in every
good team.
game, they give everybody problems.
Got to say good.
And got to win over another good team today.
Yes.
So congratulations to the Patriots. Final score for the final time. Los Angeles Chargers 24.
I thought he was going to say it right this week, too.
Patriots.
Earlier he said 27-24.
27. Thank you for listening and
So
watching.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.